Yes, everybody, Russ on the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well, my friends. Hope you're well. Happy Friday. We've done another week, and obviously we travel to the City Ground tomorrow as we take on an informed Nottingham Forest. And it's Friday. So as we do on Always Friday, the idea is have your safe Friday. We give you it's carte blanche, my friends, for you to talk about whatever you want to talk about. We can talk about Nottingham Forest. We can talk about Lucas Paqueta. We can talk about January. We can talk about life in general. Life, whatever you want to talk about, we want to talk about with you. If you want to come on stream and you want to come have a chat with me now, I'll put the link in the chat. So that is that. Hammer's headlines, we'll be talking about Dali Krajinski, who's definitely worth a few bob now. And also potential January moves. We were told that the cupboards may well be bare, but I'm sure stuff could get moved around in terms of bringing in stuff and new bodies in January. Definitely it's needed. We know that there's no return date on Nicholas Fullkrug in terms of when we're likely to see him back as well. That was something that Mr. Lopetegui said in between his for shorters yesterday in the press conference. That was probably the only interesting thing really to come out of it, in all honesty, and a reluctance to talk about Ruby and Amarin as well. I've got a spot there. It's getting better. Anyway, so we've got a chat. Usual suspect. West Ham 11-5 to win. Draw 12-5. We could get battered again by Somerville, but Somerville has to start. No reason for him not to start after his cameo. Well, there is. The reason is Julian Lopetegui, Matt. He was very much. There was a very much. Someone asked him about it. And he went, well, it's the squad and stuff like that. We know. For me, I think the way he sets up now is basically keep it tight first half, second half, go for it. Now, why we don't go for it for 90 minutes, I don't know, but that's the way. So I would not be surprised if he isn't starting tomorrow, because, to be honest, I'll be surprised if he is starting tomorrow, because I'll be surprised with the setup, in all honesty. We didn't think that he was going to go with Soler and Paqueta for the game against Man United. He did. And I would say possibly, I wouldn't be surprised you see something similar, maybe with Paqueta out and possibly Souček in, possibly. And then Somerville has an impact. I don't know. Michael, good afternoon to you. Lawrence, good afternoon from Lexington, Kentucky, with the Colonel and his 13 secret spices, herbs and spices. Peter, good Merry Christmas to you, Peter. It is 1st of November. We can officially start playing Mariah Carey All I Want for Christmas. The Budden Christmas lights will be going up next week. Remembrance Sunday is when I always do them. I'm one of the crazy, that when I was a kid and there was always one house that put the Christmas lights up really early, and you go, right, that's Christmas because, da-da-da-da's got their lights up. We're that house, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So they'll be going up next week, next Sunday, because we've got a game on Saturday. We've got Everton, haven't we? We're talking to each other. Best to forget about Fullkrug until 2025. No, I don't think so. I reckon you'll probably see him for the Newcastle game potentially. He seems he's starting to work hard in terms of getting going. So yeah, I reckon you'll probably see him on the bench for that. But then again, we don't know about Mohamed Kudus, do we? We don't know when we're likely to see him back. Obviously, that was match 1 of his 3-match ban. Tomorrow's 2, Everton's 3. Then by then, we'll obviously know whether that's been extended. The likelihood, I think it will be extended. If that's the case, I think it's early December by the time he gets back. Because then we've got 2 weeks off the international break, don't we? After next Saturday. But Budden is working on some special interviews. Can't say too much moment because it's still in negotiations, but I'm hoping there could be 2 really good interviews coming up soon. Can we send Fullkrug? Well, we bought Fullkrug, so probably not. We didn't keep receipt. Arthur, you hope you well. 2-1 West Ham, indeed. First time we'd win back-to-back wins all season, which would be amazing. And then with potentially Everton, you know, good chance of beating them next Saturday. Who knows? Who knows? 3 wins on the bounce could be. We never know. But it's West Ham, innit? Good afternoon, Garina. Hope you're well. Randy, hope you're well. How are you doing? I think the problem going forward is if it's successful and opportunity fails, we have serious questions, and we do this will be the final straw. Yeah, I think it's fair enough, Randy. You know, being so public with the discussions with Ruben Amorim, and whether that was a decision, that public decision was taken by West Ham or taken by Ruben, you know, we don't know. I think it's more likely the latter, in all honesty. I think Ruben was forcing maybe other clubs to go into the fray. The Liverpool job was still very much around that time as well. There was question marks about Ten Hag. So whether he was using us to flash his knickers, I think personally that's what happened. I have no doubt we spoke to him, and I have no doubt we probably were interested in him. But I also have no doubt that we were never going to get him, because not even necessarily the monetary value involved in terms of, because you know, if it's the right man for the job, you make it work. I think he was never going to come to us. I thought he was always flashing his knickers for a better job. And the whole staging of that thing beforehand, and I think the trouble is we as West Ham fans assume, same when we were going for players, you know, we go, we're useless, you know, why couldn't we have got him? We never know the ins and outs of all these negotiations and all these discussions. You know, we believe what's put in the media. Obviously, we cover it all the time, so you're aware of those things. And you take everything with a grain of salt, and you take everything at face value. I think the Amorim thing, I always thought his greater ambition was, I think he was probably holding out for the Man City job. He had it sort of sewn up in Sporting, to be honest. I never really thought there was any much. I think we all got excited because he was an exciting manager, and he will do well. And hopefully he will do well because he's a good manager. I think in terms of the second point, we've had this discussion in our WhatsApp, in our West Ham network WhatsApp, and Luke made a really good point saying, you know, that, you know, it's about maintaining. I mean, I made a point as well. I think the fact is everything the club's based on at the moment is staying in the Premier League. And it's about calculated risks, you know, wages, corporate deals, TV deals, potentially long lease ownership or long lease renting of the London Stadium. I mean, the fact is, I believe this is the current time we're in now is the longest period we've actually been in the top flight in our history, and that's literally 0.1 of what we want to achieve every season. Same as probably 10 clubs in the Premier League, maybe 12 clubs in the Premier League. Maintain Premier League status number one. And then it's about the ambition to go on to the next one. I think we dipped our toe in it. I think you know, the whole setup has changed with Tim involved now. But it'd be interesting to see what happens when, you know, he won't be to the after the international break. There were reports that West Ham are looking at the Ruud van Nistelrooy as this is almost his dress rehearsal, you know, to see how he gets on, and obviously West Ham could then look at. He was one of the names we were looking at originally, apparently. So we'll see. Solera's crap, simple. There we go. Afternoon, London, hope you're well. Carino, good. We need a manager, a new chairman. Get rid of Dave, and all our problems are gone. No, Alex. It's just one. You'll get more problems. More, you know, more money, more problems, and I think you would. And I'm not advocating either way, but what I'm saying is, look at Newcastle. Newcastle thought they'd got the golden goose, and they can't spend any money, and they got into the Premier League, they got into Champions League, and then Amanda's left, and it's all gone a bit tits up at the moment. So unfortunately, you know, and sometimes, I'm not saying the grass is always greener, because I'm not saying that at all. But it's not that simple. It's not that simple. And the fact is, he's not a chair. He owns the club. And he's a major shareholder. And the likelihood is Danny Krasinski's not going to take him out, so to speak, in terms of a takeover. So how's that resolved? I don't think it will be. Isn't good enough for Premier League. Focus on injury flop. Simple. Why not use Guilherme? Well, look, again, Mark, I mean, for me, Lewis, and again, it's us probably looking at ourselves as a bit of Not. I mean, you look at someone like Chelsea and Man United and City. These guys buy players, and they might not be integrated into the squad for another 2 years. That's what Luis Guilherme is, and I keep saying it. And we've had experts talk about it. And he's Tim Vickery, who's an expert in South American football. Luis Guilherme is not somebody who's going to come in and instantly make an impact into the first team. He'll be used in and around the squad. Next year, I think you'll see more of him. Because like it is, one of Paqueta, if not both, one of Paqueta and Kudus will be leaving in the summer. And then he steps up. He's got a year. And that's the way the Brighton model, which everyone sort of wanks about all the time, that's what it does. It's a conveyor belt. Brighton have got the next sort of batch ready. So as and when the likes of Balebi goes, they put him in. The next one goes in. And that's what we're starting to do now. Claims that's why I didn't play him. We'll get more on the boss's side. Again, Michael, it's ifs, buts, and maybes, isn't it? It's just all speculation, isn't it? Hopefully, Lopetegui will bear fruit soon. Just because I don't want Lopetegui to fail, but better damn sure that Lopetegui is successful. Want him to be, but Sullivan cannot afford for him to fail. Mate, I hope we don't look back. Yeah. I never knew managers flash the G. Well, they certainly do, Peter. And I am adamant that Ruben Amorim discussions over at West Ham, and there was why was there a film crew filming him getting on the private plane at Lisbon, which we didn't hire? It wasn't our plane. Why did we do that? Why did they do that? For a player, for a manager who's also still under contract at Sporting Lisbon. That's why I still think that's it. Aaron leaves and brings Victor, possibly. There's a couple of good players at Sporting, or definitely he'll be wanting to leave, and there's a couple of others who are not happy that he's going. So he could come to Man United. But I think things they'd have to move on Højlund, because they're going to have Højlund and Gyökeres, to be honest, but we'll see. Russ, with inside information, it's true will not sign him on. I think, Peter, I think the line would be, if someone is available for the right price, we'll find the money to get them. I think that's it. I mean, we've got someone like Jonathan David, for example, if he's available, then you think you could get a good deal out of him. I think if a deal comes along, I think we'll pounce. But then we've heard other contradictory of. But again, as I said, Peter, as I was saying yesterday, West Ham aren't going to come out and say we've got £100 million to spend in January, because when they phone up, when Palmeiras to try and sign Ricardo Rios or someone like that, they know we've got 100 million. If we say, we're skint, that's the narrative. So everything that's out there, doesn't matter who says it, there's always a reason. There's always a reason for it. If Fabrizio Romano says something, or if Florian Peltenberg says something, or if Sean says something, or if X says something, there's a reason why that information's been given to them, isn't there? Really? So that's for me the reason why. Russ, you can't keep being risky for so long, Russ. As if you're not willing to take the calculator risk. Unfortunately, active is his problem. I don't think he can. He tried to put the best. True. There's a reason why rich people are rich, because they usually take calculated risk with their money. There's a reason why Daniel Kudrynski is now the richest man in the Czech Republic. There's a reason why Daniel Kudrynski is apparently only £2 billion off being in the top 100 rich men of all time. He buys little bits of this. He doesn't go all hog. And rich people are usually the most tightest. And that's why they're rich. That's why I don't have any money, because I'm quite charitable with my money. And that's it. And I think, I think the trouble is, not the trouble, but I think Europe gave us a taste as fans, and we want more of that. Of course, we want more of that. We want to be ambitious, and I think it's finding an even kill where we can't pump money into the club, so the people who can put money into the club are the owners, and so it's a building process, I think. And I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's basically how the situation is, I believe, and they are the custodians, aren't they? As we always said. Kent, with FFP, you have to be careful to make the way you spend money. You have to throw it around cleverly rather than throw it around angles. You need to be, exactly, Ken. With FFP, PSR, obviously they're simultaneously running a new PSR model alongside the current one to assess in the end of the season. And so, if everyone has to stay within those, and particularly also, I mean, with the new budget coming in as well, you know, upping up national insurance from 13.5% to 15%, plus increasing the minimum wage, that's going to have a massive impact. I mean, my firm is about 120 grand a year, and we're a relatively small firm. You know, you're thinking, you know, West Ham have got a bill of 150 million pounds wage bill. The impact is of a couple of million quid. And that's just on the playing staff. And so, but that's just West Ham. That's not Man City. Everyone's going to be similar. So there's going to be a bit of jiggery pokery, I think, when it comes to January, particularly. And I think that is one of the instances why. The best are going to come to us if they are bigger after them ready. Yep, exactly. Hope the under 21s indeed had an awful October, had a good August, good September, awful October. Draw on 3 losses on the bounce. They play Fulham tonight. I'll be on the 1s and 2s. If you can get down there, go and cheer the boys on. You know, it's great to see. You know, obviously the likes of Lewis Orford and people like that will be playing. Hayden Mullins, the under 21 Fulham captain, coach, and it's a good laugh. I think it's a couple of quid for non-season. I think it's even might be free for season goals. I don't know, but it's good fun. It doesn't look like it's going to rain. You know, wrap yourself up warm, be lovely. Amorin's 4-2-3-1 says Damien, we cannot afford to get relegated to the first targets. Exactly. And I think, Ken, in all honesty, that is the first target for, I reckon, 3/4 of the Premier League is to get to that 40 points. And then the earliest you get to that 40 points, the better. And then they can see. And the idea is by January, you probably have some sort of idea, unless it's a complete meltdown, of where you'll probably end up going to be. And then you can either invest in January to get you that lift, or keep that investment to the summer and then go again in the summer. I think that is called forecasting. That is 101 company management in terms of finances. You know, then you reforecast your expectations. You know, every year West Ham basically plan for hitting, I think, 11th, and everything they budget for is an 11th finish. If it looks like we're going to finish predicting, you know, if it's a shit season, we're finishing 14th, 15th, then we have to tweak what we can spend. If it looks like we're going to finish 6th, 7th, 8th, then obviously that means we could increase the budget. And unfortunately, that's the way, I think, again, for everyone, probably apart from the top 4 or 5. Our aims are calculated, mustn't go mad, but we should be aiming for the top 8 every year. We should be. I think we budget for 11th every year, which is sort of fair enough, I think, in terms of budget perspective. Comparing the 2 styles will be hard to swallow, but I just hope the time at least say something to show he will show progression. Yeah, I agree, Randy. I agree. Akora and Doof, get them on the same terms as what we got. Todibo. Well, we couldn't. That wouldn't happen, Damien, would it? Because we'd have to get them on loan, wouldn't we? But Akora Adams is someone we've been after for a while, isn't it? But we'll have to wait and see. I'd play Fabianski, Kilman, Todibo, Mav, Emerson. Oh, you'd go through at the back. Suchek, Somerville, Bowen, and Mickey. Interesting. With Amarin now available, I suspect our disgruntled fans will get behind. Otherwise, we'll be wishing for Southgate. I don't think so now. I think the trouble is people go, yeah, anything good that Ruben Amorim does, disgruntled fans will be like, should have been us. Should have been us. See, should have been us. But I still don't think it was as close as everyone thinks. And that's the trouble, is because the narrative, and I keep calling it the narrative, but it is because the narrative came out thinking, we're going to do this and do that, and we're getting this guy, and we all went ahead of ourselves. We did, because we're football fans. We get excited. I get excited about rumours. I do, but I treat them as rumours. You know, and someone somewhere would have mentioned that, whether it's an agent trying to get the player a move, whether it is someone like Fabrizio who has a bit more information, whether it's someone like X who's trying to, you know, I get excited by those types of things. In the same way that I get excited, you know, when it was the managers. Obviously, we saw him fly in a plane, and you know that's got to stop as well because of the budget. That's got to stop. No more Tim planes. 50% tax on private airplanes passengers. EasyJet for Tim now. No private planes for him. We cannot afford to get relegated, in my opinion. If you get a maximum, we'd only get 30 in that stadium. Yeah, Exactly, Ken. And I think that's literally where we are. As I said, for every, and again, it's not just exclusively us; it is everyone. Everyone in, as I said, probably six downwards. That's the first point, in terms of season's achievements, KPIs for the season. First one is maintain Premier League status, because literally, that is at least 50-60% of your revenue, if not more, gone. And then we would be in absolute dire straits. Look, as I mentioned to you about Amarin yesterday, I don't want to look back thinking we missed this. I still want to work, but I think there are lots around us. There certainly are. Gone from you. That's not progress. But usually, that's always that is point one. Even when we qualify before we qualify for Europe, point one is stay up, and then get to 40 points, and then see where we go. We've always got Europe. I mean, the fact is, Lopetegui's contract is based on European qualification in the first 2 years, if he wants that third year. So that's written into his contract. So there is aspirations, but I'm just saying that's the first point of call for every season for us, and for Brighton, and for Brentford, and for Fulham, and for That is the first thing to do: stay in the Premier League. And get to that 40 points as soon as possible. Guaranteed won't start on Saturday. He's safety first, as we saw. He's fit. He's going to have a field day if we defend like we did. I totally agree, Glenn. I totally agree. I think for me, every season we have a player who is like our, not super sub, that's disrespectful, but our impact bench player. It was Bowen first. Bowen would always be on the bench or come off, and when he first, then Ben Rama for a long time. And now it seems, and even Kudus last season took a few games to get in before he started. So this season it's Somerville. So yeah, carry on like we do. We like to get 40 points. Kudus find that today. He does indeed, because a couple of teams getting relegated with 28 or less than season. Yeah, I think and again I've said it before. I'm not worried about relegation this year. That'll be clips but. It's. I'm not saying as I said, our ambition is always minimum. Really, is 11th, because that's what we budget for. But yeah, I think we'll be under. End of the day, we are West Ham fans. Support the staff until change is made. That's exactly, and that's what I've always been on about, Michael. Whoever's in the dugout gets my full support. Whoever he picks, if he picks Thomas Souček, right, I'm going to support Thomas Souček. If he picks Carlos Soler, I'm going to pick Carlos. If he picks some of them, I'm going to, because these guys, they're doing what we've wanted to do our whole lives. They're playing the claret and blue shirt, and we hope they give their all. And someone like Thomas Souček will give his all. Is he the most creative and flamboyant and ball play midfielder in the world? No. But will he give his heart and soul for West Ham? Yes. There's no denying that fact. He's bled more than many of us have in a West Ham shirt. Lastly, Rush, just to point out, if you listen to us at least once when it comes to appointing the head coaches, he did not work out. That's fine. It's not trying that. It's not acceptable, in my opinion. But again, we don't know, Randy, innit? I have no doubt we had talked to Ruben Amorim. But I have no doubt that the discussions weren't as developed as TalkSport said. And again, TalkSport is a news source that we always criticise. Oh yeah, but it's only TalkSport said it. But as soon as there's a narrative which we can get behind, we go, oh yeah, definitely, that's definitely true. What about all the other bullshit they've been talking about, which we've dismissed? You can't, pick and choose the credibility of sites as and when the story and narrative suits you. And that was the issue I had with all of that. And I still think, as you said, it was all staged to try and get a bigger club than West Ham. And even if we did, even if we had got him, he would have only been here 18 months. And then he would have gone to a Chelsea or because that's obviously the aspiration, or he'd have gone to Man City after Pep's left or something like that. You know what I mean? He'd always be linked, and that would piss me off even more, because then you start back at square one again, wouldn't you? Really. Most West Ham thing ever would be to win over and get battered by Forest. Forest, a good side. Should have been honest on why he didn't join West Ham. What? He doesn't have to be, mate. It's his job. How many times have you gone for a job with a company and you haven't got it, or you didn't fancy it because it didn't give you the right vibe, or the wages weren't enough? It happens. You know, it happens in life. I don't know why, because it's football, we assume it's any different. Players talk to, free transfer players. Players talk to clubs all the time. Managers and agents, and 90% of the time, none of the 90, even 95% of the time, none of the discussions go anywhere. But just sounding them out. How many times do you get headhunted by a company, or you looking at, nah, I'm all right, thanks. Just because it's football means no different. Are you a Fleetwood Mac fan if you get excited by rumours? Always, my friend. We have a great squad. Yeah, we do have a good squad. Really good squad. And that last word is key. Squad. That's something we haven't had, arguably, in the last 3 or 4 years at least. But a good 11, very good 11, but the squad was poor. And again, one of the criticisms of Julian Lopetegui is he uses too many subs. One of the major criticisms with Moyes was he didn't use enough subs. And one of the criticisms of Moyes was he didn't utilise the squad. But now, because and Julian made a really good point. I thought one of the only points he made in the press conference to say, for me, it's not about who's starting 11; it's about the squad, and that's so true. That is so true. It's the squad, not the starting 11. We're fixated as fans about who's starting, but we've seen, he's taken off, Paqueta at halftime and brought on this person, and I remember Mourinho used to always make subs in about 30 minutes for some players as well if it wasn't quite working out. That's the modern game now, and it's something that we've been crying out for, someone to utilise the squad. And if you don't start Somerville on Saturday, Somerville's still going to come on. It's not like he's been banished from the matchday squad. If he wasn't in the squad, then I'd be frustrated. But he'll be in the squad, and he'll probably come on half time or 30 minutes to go, when we need him. Now the frustration is, would it be different if we'd started him? Quite possibly, but we know that's not how Lopetegui likes to set up his stall. So there we go. Only giving, so they must be like us, is a gamble. We'll give him 5. Great shout, Michael. If he was the 39-year-old young Supremo and everyone's full of confidence, then they should have given him a 5-year deal. Surely. We've been doing a lot of good things of late. I think we have. I'm going tomorrow at Hampton because of speed. I mean, look, I'll take a draw. I think they're playing really well. They found something which works. And I think, and again, it all depends on Chris Wood, which you won't find out really until the team sheet's out, because that is critical to them. Is it 7 goals this season already? He's absolutely on fire, and obviously he got a knock on the last game. I think if he doesn't play, we've got a chance. If he does play, it's going to be a tough day. It's going to be a tough day for whoever. A good side. They're a good side. They've got very, very pacey players, very good in the ball technically, and I think we'll see what happens. I'm excited. Because I love every game. Every time we watch West Ham, I always get excited. I'm a little schoolboy every day. And at 3:00, and then at 5:00, I might be different, but we'll see. League One, they've been struggling for ages, mate. Absolutely, 3 years is enough time to make his mark there, Michael. Could be. Everyone's saying we had a shit start, but 5 points off 6 and 2 behind Spuds. We haven't. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been that bad. It hasn't been great, but it hasn't been that bad. And again, I think also looking at the Nottingham Forest game, bar like maybe the Liverpool game, the order of the fixtures makes a massive impact early on. If we hadn't had, and again, if me aren't here, bollocks be my uncle, but if we hadn't had City, Villa, Chelsea, and had, no disrespect, like Southampton, I don't know, with Ipswich, but sort of a slightly lesser bunch of teams in the first half of the first 10 games or so, 19 games, and we had another 6 or 7 points, then people would be maybe critical, but they wouldn't be as critical. And again, it's all timing. And football is all about timing. How many times does a player hit form just at the right time? How many times does a player get injured at the wrong time? Football is literally a matter of time. Suchek is a G. Totally agree. Don't worry about Amarin. Manu is a poison chalice. Talksport and Jim White are anti-West Ham. Jim White isn't. I know that for sure, mate. Don't forget his best mate is on the phone. Hypothetically, if this appointment did not work out, why do you want us to move away from the current process of the head coach by taking the risk? No. I want a head coach. I don't like a manager. I think managers having a manager is a really, really old-fashioned way of dealing with football now. It's having a system. And actually now, considering how the system is set up, when the head coach leaves, it's easy to get him replaced. Look at Brighton. Brighton had, Potter for many years. Then he went. They had De Serbi. There was no really break in service. In fact, it got better. And then he's left. They got Husler in, and again, it's easy. Yes, he brings in some of his coaching staff, but in terms of the recruitment, in terms of the analysis, in terms of the academy, all that type of stuff is sort of held within the club. Don't forget under Pellegrini, when he left, him and what's his face just literally took everything. Moyes turned up with literally a blank, with empty cabinets full of like match reports and stuff because they took it all with them because it was their property, which should never be the case. So we're in a better setup now in terms of thinking finishing above Spurs and seeing Ange sets is what I want. I mean, you talk about careful what you wish for. You listen to a lot of Spurs fans, and there is frustration with Ange Postecoglou, and in terms of it's lovely football at times, but sometimes they wish they put up their jumper a little bit to put the old rugby analogy in. That's talking to some high profile. I mean, we had Flavor, didn't we, a while ago, and he was saying the same thing. I wish sometimes we would shithouse a result occasionally, something a bit different. Sully offers you 4 million, Manu 8. Where do you want to go? But again, Michael, did he really? We don't. That's the thing. We don't know. Everything I read in the paper, everything I read online, everything I take with a grain of salt, because you don't know who's released that information. For a journalist to say something, they must have got information from someone who has given that information. Was it because journalists paid them for that information? Was it given to them knowing they'd put that out and a narrative would be adapted? It's like a game of chess when it comes to that. Absolutely want to see some consistency, progress to show some generally with the style of play. I did. Jakey, I know we don't have a return date, but do you know? Well, I think it is this Achilles issue, Achilles tendonitis or something like that. I believe it is. I personally think you'll see him after the international break, maybe in the squad for the Newcastle game, on the bench. Possibly. If he carries on with Loppy, I'm waiting for Will Steele to be mentioned again. He's not done nothing, but because he's a West Ham fan, he's the man. That's not the case for me. Yeah, I get that. And there's no doubt. There's no doubt. Steiden has a list ready because that is part and parcel of being a director of football. And there's pros and cons for everything. There was Flavio Conceição, we were looking. Yes, he's the name that's been touted about recently. Edin Terzic, he's another one who's been touted about. No doubt Will Steele, obviously, he's stuck in League R. Personally, I think if he wanted to come to the Premier League, he would have probably had to get a Sunderland job or something like that, just to be in and around England. Personally, but just because you're a West Ham fan doesn't mean you're better than someone else. Yeah, he's a great coach. He's done well. Where he's been, but again, it's the same sort of issue that allegedly we were looking at with Amarin. He's done it in one country. Look, whoever's in the dugout gets my support. Always been the case. I think Russ, there's still some holes in the squad. I say a chance for us to get a chance if we're given the right tools to succeed, even though to get fifth also. As I said, I think realistically, Randy, I think our league is sort of 6th to 12th. That's the league we're in. And if we had a good league, a good season, we'll end up in Europe. And as I said, occasionally, the points get spread out a little bit more than usual. And they get dominated by the top 4 or 5. And then anything's possible. As we know, we've had, Villa have gone about it the right way. We've had Newcastle in the Champions League, obviously not this year. Spurs have been in the Champions League, obviously not this year. Chelsea have been in the Champions League. Yeah, so there's about it really is it really is, a few games each way, isn't it? Really, 2 or 3 wins more than obviously everyone else, and you'll end up in the top 5 or 6. And then based on who wins Europe, that sort of knocks it all down a little bit as well. And it's all based on a number of factors. And again, it's timing. Football is all about timing. Forest's 3 main threats of fitness tests. They certainly do. Callum, hope you're well. Is it my eyes or is the lettering to your left wonky? Oh, have I got? Is it? Yeah, I think it's always been like that. Actually, it's a bit Anton-esque, isn't it? I'll try and take that down, Pete, and tweak that up a little bit. It must have fallen down. Not as bad as Anton's, that's for sure. No, it's the way. Bet way. That's probably always been the case, but maybe you've just mentioned it, and my OCD has kicked in. I'm going to have to try and take that down at the weekend and do it. Thank you. I would make it simple. I make it simple. Pointing with the obscure leagues, that's different, or carrying on. I can make it simple. Appointing that's different, or carried on with Premier League only. That's what I meant. Oh, well, I think it's a tricky one, isn't it, Randy? One would almost guarantee you security in the Premier League. One is a risky option and could get you in the right frame. I mean, we linked for the guy with the Belgium league, wasn't it? There was a guy we were linked to, a German guy, and obviously we know that apparently, what's his face from Brighton was on the list with us as well. I don't know. I honestly think we've all made folk about fight clubs. If you don't say him, would be my choice. Speaks well, needs to get to a better club. Now he's bedding in the Premier League. Yeah, and I mean, would in the same way you've got the situations of Premier League experience. Thomas Frank, but sometimes the coach suits the club, and maybe someone like Thomas is suited in that in a Brentford types. If he moved to where there was a lot more exposure, how would that? That's a risk as well. Everything's a risk, mate. Love for Thomas Frank to come and bring some of his hard-working players. It ain't been that bad because you had a good players. If you want to bring Champions League, bring me a core and who can coach 4-2-3-1. After that, let Tim scout a left back. Damien is getting the right players for us and the squads that we can play and hope they are adaptable in approaches, mates. He's staying put. He just turned down the Danish side. Again, we'll wait and see. No Paqueta starting at the weekend, please. I think he'll be on the bench for tomorrow, to be honest. That's what we're hearing. We heard that they were going to be making a change in the goalkeeper for the Man United game, which they did. Whether that continues into the Nottingham Forest game, I don't know. In the same way, you don't usually break up a winning side. That's a traditional thing most football managers, coaches stick with. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if he keeps Fab between the sticks. Todibo, there was a slight question mark about him for tomorrow because he wasn't featured in any of the club's training videos as well. So we'll see. Didn't Sully inadvertently say something along the lines about when he was shooting down the Potter rumours? With the Potter rumours, he said that. Again, it was claimed that they were more concerned about Brighton's supercomputer than Graham Potter in terms of him coming into a club like West Ham. Again, that's all we can see. Frank would be my choice, but they're scouting him. Helps him a lot, similar to Brighton. That's what I'm thinking. It's getting the right fit for what we've got coming up. Damien would still be in his Paqueta still be in his starting 11. Hope you're well, Dawn. Nice to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Everyone's Dawn on tour. Lovely bloke. Nottingham Forest fan channel, top boy as well. And won that Mr. Beast competition, didn't he, randomly? That's not all Dawn's known for, but he got a bit of a boost from that. They will go with back four, Suter, Galvis, Paqueta, Bowen, Somerville, Antonio. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes. Thing is, he likes Rodriguez. Let's be honest. He likes Rodriguez. Isn't Ariel out of contract this summer? I'm sure Bournemouth will be giving him a new deal this as soon as possible. I think Frank likes that. Just isn't too much pressure. That's what I mean. For some people, it's the right fit for the right club, and I think he's great. I do like Thomas Frank, but you just as you said, there isn't a lot of pressure on him. Whereas at West Ham and again Brentford, pressure. Their objective: first thing, stay in the Premier League, and secondly, get a top 10 finish. That's basically what Brentford would be about, isn't it? Really, we have ideas. Having watched the video regularly, once him at West Ham, I still believe he'll turn things around and a mid-table finish this season. Yeah, I think top 10. I still think it will be a top 10 finish, maybe even pushing into Europe. In terms of, we got more favourable fixtures coming up. Squad's starting to gel a little bit. I agree. I remember seeing them play Sevilla playing us at London Stadium, and exciting side and wingers and he'd won this and won that, and yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's all about context, really, isn't it? Against the sides, we need to be more front-footed. A front-footed manager sets up more on the front foot against teams and around us, and tweaking it against the better teams. I mean, to be fair, when the Ipswich game, he did play a bit more cavalier for the Ipswich game, barely getting. I think the 4-1 flattered us a bit, to be honest. Lopetegui out, says Damien. Was chatting to Spanish guy down the wacky backy. He likes our team, doesn't rate Antonio. He's a Real Madrid fan. Well, there we go. Although his time at Real Madrid was short-lived, wasn't it, really? He did sort of come to them when he should have been concentrating on the World... Was it the World Cup? Well, I mean, Damien, having the right play and approach and attacking them effectively in the right balances. I think but isn't that for every manager and every coach, really? I'm trying to give Loppy till Christmas, but if he doesn't start, combined with a questionable, I'm going to start leaning towards getting a new coach. I wouldn't. Thing is, Brian, I'll be surprised either way. I'll be surprised if he starts Somerville. I'll be surprised if he doesn't start Somerville. He can't win with me in terms of that. But as I said, he did say, and again, as in the press conference, he did move away from saying, look, basically, it's not about, and people's fascinations with starting 11s, but it's about the squad. And again, we will wait and see that. Lopetegui seems to be making a huge selection error at half time, which he remedies in the second half. Or the yin to my yang, as Ralph would say, is that the part of the plan? Is the first half, let's keep it tight. Let's keep it tight, and second half, go for it. Don't know. Is he a tactical genius? And then we just see it as tomfoolery. I don't know. Could you see moving into or sticking to left back? Seems to have went through a hefty growth spurt. Well, he's playing more centrally at the moment. Ollie is for the under-21s. And if you get down to watch him tonight, you're probably watching him play more centrally. Doesn't play left back for the under-21s. He plays more sort of on the left side of the of the midfield. They sort of play a 3-4-3, and he plays sort of more centrally alongside Louis Orford, really. Sort of plays as a number 10 role, which is interesting. But obviously that's been a decision made by the academy to bring him in there, and gives the likes of Amike Dialey on the left side. He's been playing quite well for the 21s. Julio Robinson on the right hand side. So yeah, get along and watch them if you can, mate. If you get down to Rush Green tonight, you can park in the car park usually at the Rush Green. It costs a couple of quid, and we get a few hundred people there, and it'll be a good game. And then you can see him in the flesh. You can win in by starting him. I am still waiting for it to come out the blocks. Yeah, me too, a little bit. Me too, to be honest. I think we will. Yeah, I think we will. I think for me, it's very much about. As I said, I still want to see something. Do you know what I mean? I want to see a style, and I don't know whether I'm seeing the style, I'm seeing the tactic, but quite often at halftime he makes 2-3 changes. Whether that is part of what maybe he has a first half team, a second half team. I don't know. But we are trying to sort of translate literally what he's trying to do. Russ, don't think Lopetegui has to show us that he can get his 11 completely correctly whilst getting the right tactical. It's not consistent enough, and he's not been so fortunate on a few times. I mean, there's been times where we've gone in, obviously. I mean, again, the Man United game is a case in point. You know, we went in, and then he brought 3 players on and changed the side completely. And it was said afterwards that he thought first half we'll keep it tight. They just come from Fenerbahce. Second half we'll bring on Somerville, bring on and they'll tire. And it worked, you know. If we, whether we're fortunate enough for it to happen, which we were, it did work. And so now, is that the thing he always does? I don't know. I would love to succeed, but I'm concerned with the high line and fullbacks pushing on. He corrects once the damage is done, but repeats in the next game. Yeah. I mean, Wan-Bissaka seems to be playing as a CDM half the time. Emerson, if you look at his heat map, there's loads in there, half of the box, which, you know, attacking fullbacks, all that. But again, there's not one thing that I can say that's Lopetegui football. You know, but maybe I'm so used to my fullbacks just staying as fullbacks and stuff. I don't know. Russ playing a weakened team to start just to hold out is a dangerous game. Fortunes won't always be on our side, and it hasn't been, Ralph, has it? And again, I'm just trying to just logically work my way through it, and I could see that might be a thing to not a weakened side, but a different side. Wouldn't say Soler and Paqueta are weaker players, but it's a different setup to them bringing on Somerville for Paqueta. That changes the dynamic of the team straight away. I wish you'd do it a bit more braver with it sometimes, rather than doing it half times. Rather than do it in game early on. You know, if it's not working, fuck it. You know, change it. But I'm just trying to, you know, wade through the noise a little bit. Listen to the press conference was like his normal one. Couldn't understand him. Yeah, indeed. Well, not to state the obvious, but there isn't something like the right or wrong lineup. Hindsight is always 2020. It certainly is, my friend. Hindsight's a great thing. You see, Todibo said he wasn't feeling 8% at the moment. If that's the case, we have a serious player. Yeah, that's what I mean. He's a good player. And again, all the criticism of, you know, the recruitment, Todibo looks like a fucking beast, mate. Adrian Biaponi's partner up down the right. Huge weapon, totally agree. Doesn't surprise me. Fullbacks pushing forward, then up in the same field in the box. Did it all season. Yeah, totally right. I think Russ, what's important is seeing there's potential winnable games with some hard ones. Yeah, that's what I mean, mate. And again, if those more potential winnable games we'd already played, we had another 9 points in the bag or whatever, and no disrespect to Forest, but we're in the same position as like Forest were, I think people would be a bit more on board. But, you know, let's be honest, you know, again, it's about timing. It's about situations. Lopetegui's a lot when he said, he used them when it's a different type of question, for sure, which makes perfect sense to me. Makes perfect sense. Right, I'm going to have to go, peeps. I've got some work to do. But anyway, keep an eye on the channel. We've having said lines later on today. And we have to build up for the game tomorrow against Nottingham Forest. But if you like what we do, don't forget to give it a little comment. Even if you're watching it afterwards, a little thumbs up, a little crossed hammers emoji or whatever. All helps with the channel engagement. And take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. Keep the faith, my bloody friends. And I will see you guys soon. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.